An introduction to car engines. There are a lot of different types of fuel that work with engines. Some of the main types are gasoline, diesel, and natural gas. Yet, recently, people have been experimenting with hydrogen and electric engines. There are very few dangers associated with car engines today. One of them is that the carbon monoxide from the exhaust pipe can get into the cabin, and that wouldn't be good. You see, carbon monoxide suffocates you and eventually kills you. Also, there is very little chance that the fuel in the fuel tank will self-combust. This is because fire needs spark, fuel, and oxygen to be started. There is not enough oxygen in the fuel tank for the fire to start. Most people are very confused when they first see a specification sheet for a car. I mean, what does it all mean? Horsepower is a unit of measurement for the energy produced by a car engine. Horsepower can vary a lot. This Smart 42 has 71 horsepower, while this Bugatti Veyron, the world's most powerful and expensive production car, has 1,001 horsepower. Now torque. Torque is the amount of force in which the wheels of a car move. A car or truck can have more horsepower than torque or vice versa. Some types of fuels are obviously more efficient than others, but it has nothing to do with the three types of fuel in the gas station. Those mean something completely different. The three types of gas in the gas station are referring to the octane ratings in each of them. The octane rating is the capacity of the gasoline to prevent auto ignition under high pressure and temperature conditions. The higher octane level withstands higher pressure temperature than the lower octane level without self-igniting. What does make certain fuels more efficient is their level of temperature and pressure inside the combustion chamber. This is also why diesel engines are more efficient than gas engines. There are many parts of an engine. One of them is the crankshaft. The crankshaft is what's basically connected to the gearbox and the wheel. This is what makes the wheel turn. Now, what makes the crankshaft turn are the pistons or cylinders. These, when the fuel is put in through the intake valve, it is basically blown up and the cylinder comes down, thus turning the crankshaft.
At this point, you know the difference between a gasoline engine and a diesel engine, right? I will explain it a little bit more in detail. A gasoline engine is the engine that most of our cars has installed. It's an engine that has spark plugs. That's one of the main difference between the two engines. In the diesel engine, you don't have spark plugs, so the gasoline and the air auto-ignite by high pressure and high temperature. In the other hand, diesel engines operate with much higher pressures compared to gasoline. Diesel engines also are heavier than gas engines, so that's why most of our cars has gasoline engines, and they're also noisier. They produce a very characteristic noise that is very difficult to isolate from the cabin of the car. So, in general, they are more efficient. You can save probably a 20% more with a diesel engine, depending on the design and the turbo compressor. But it's difficult for us to really accept them because there are very many other options in today's market, like hybrid engines or in direct injection gasoline engines.
This picture here is of a gas engine. We know this because it is in a V formation. and diesel engines are usually not in V formations. This means that the cylinders are not arranged in a V-like form. Hydrogen and natural gas engines work very much alike gas and diesel engines. Gas engines tend to be a lot more varied than diesel engines. They come in V formations, straight formations. They are also more widely available and combust in a way that makes them, the cars, usually faster and better, more sporty if you like. It is extremely hard to say which type of engine will be the best overall. Diesel is more efficient than gasoline, but gasoline is more fun to drive overall. So it depends what kind of engine you like. When asked about the future of cars, Vladimir Sarmiento Sr. had a few words to say.
On the question of what engine is going to dominate the future, as Vladi says in the answers he prepared, it's very difficult to answer that question. Because today, most of the market is dominated by the gasoline engine. But as you know, at this point in the presentation, the gasoline engine is very inefficient engine. About 25 to 30% efficiency only, which means about 70% of the energy you put in the engine is lost, as heat or in the engine block or through the flue gases. So it's a difficult question. There is a lot of scientists that think that the future is hydrogen, but hydrogen is very expensive to produce, and also in the production process of hydrogen you generate a lot of emissions. So it doesn't make too much sense to change one contamination for other, right? So probably electric engine would be the one with the better chance to be massively adopted. But I guess these type of questions are very difficult to answer, and at this point we can only elucubrate. So we'll see what the future brings for everybody, most likely.
So no one really knows what the future will bring, but we can all hope that it will be a good one.